Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're heading somewhere a little different, venturing into the kind of territory where the unknown feels really close. We've got 3 pretty chilling, true accounts, stories of encounters out in the empty stretches of the desert. And honestly, these tales might just test your sense of what's real.
Mm-hmm. And they're not just campfire stories, right? These are experiences people shared, things that happened to them, and they tap into those deep fears we all have about, being alone, isolated, and facing something you just can't explain.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack these stories, look at the most unsettling bits, and figure out what makes them so disturbing. Might want to settle in for this one. It could keep you up. Okay, first up, we're starting with this group of urban explorers. They're in Nevada, always looking for abandoned places. You know the type. One of them, Charles, he was apparently the guy who always found the, let's say, weirdest spots. So one day he sends his friends, including the person telling this story, our narrator, this kind of sketchy Instagram screenshot. The caption was something like, "Dozens of abandoned mine shafts in the Mojave Desert if you know where to look." A bit cryptic. It seemed like maybe nothing, right? But for Charles, it became this obsession. So Charles, our narrator, and their friend James had this Wrangler, perfect for the desert. They just head out. All they've got is a general area, this pin drop in the middle of nowhere, really, deep Mojave. They're driving for what feels like forever on this dirt path, hardly even a road, no service, just emptiness. James is about ready to turn back, thinking it's a bust, but Charles is like, no, keep going. And then, just as James is about to give up, he spots something. As they get closer, it's this half-collapsed wooden structure built right into a slope. Definitely a mine shaft. Old. It looked dark, really eerie, and you could tell it went down deep. Our narrator remembers Charles saying something pretty chilling. If we trip going down this thing, we're probably dead. Sets the mood right.
Yeah, and right there, you get that immediate sense of vulnerability. Going down into a dark, unknown space, especially one that deep, it triggers those primal fears. Being trapped, lost, something lurking. The chthonic dread you mentioned, yeah.
Totally. The lack of light just makes everything feel dangerous. So they start going down. It's steep. The ground's all loose. There are these old wooden beams holding the walls up, somehow still sturdy. And the further down they go, the colder it gets. And quiet. Like really quiet, super eerie. No light from the entrance makes it down this far. At the bottom, it opens up a bit. A wider tunnel. You can see rusted mine rails on the floor, covered in this thick dust. Good thing they wore masks. The air was incredibly stale. They just pick a tunnel and start walking, exploring. Not much to see, honestly. Looks like it was cleared out mostly. But then, they hear it. This faint scraping noise. Further down the tunnel, like metal, maybe wood being dragged along the ground.
Scraping, okay.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's getting closer. They just freeze, listening in the total darkness. Then James, totally by accident, flicks his flashlight on for a second, then off again. Just a quick flash. And the scraping noise, it stops. Instantly.
Oh.
Right after that, this loud clang, metallic, like whatever was being dragged got dropped. Heavy. And then the narrator says it was the most awful, quote, demonic scream they'd ever heard. Barely sounded human.
Wow. Okay, so that escalation from a sound to a reaction, a violent vocal one, what kind of thing makes a sound like that way out there? And what was it dragging? That doesn't sound like just a startled animal. It feels intelligent, maybe reacting to being seen, like you said, malevolent even.
They didn't stick around to find out. They just ran. Scrambling back up that steep slope in the dark, the narrator trips, loses a shoe, says the pain was excruciating, got splinters everywhere. They barely make it out. Had to practically carry the narrator to the Jeep, drove straight to a hospital, got a tetanus shot. Smart move. So a few days pass, things calm down a bit. Then James realizes, oh no, his wallet. He thinks he dropped it near the mine shaft. So reluctantly, they go back. Not excited about it, obviously. They get there, look around, the wallet's gone. But something else is there instead.
Don't tell me.
The narrator's lost shoe, just sitting there, a few feet from the mine entrance. He picks it up, and it's mangled. Torn up. And he says there are literal teeth marks in it. Big ones.
Yeah.
Entire chunks bitten out.
Teeth marks. Okay, that changes things significantly. Physical evidence like that, the bite marks, it really deepens the mystery. It's not just sounds anymore. It becomes tangible. Something real, something biological maybe. It makes you think, what exactly was down there? Not human, you'd think.
Definitely shifts it from just creepy sounds to something actively dangerous. All right, let's move to our next story. Another desert setting, but this time it's meant to be peaceful. A camping trip, specifically for stargazing. We've got our narrator, sounds like a pretty rugged guy, and his girlfriend Tiki. They wanted that real remote desert experience, Open sky, silence, dryness, far from any city lights. First couple of nights, absolutely perfect, exactly what they wanted, but both nights they heard this strange sound. Low, long, drawn out, like a howl or a moan, but really far off. They kind of brushed it off, figured it was just desert wildlife, coyotes or something. But it was still unsettling.
That gradual buildup is classic. Starts with something distant, maybe explainable, but it plants that little seed of unease, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sets the stage for whatever's coming next.
Yeah, exactly. So third night, the narrator wakes up suddenly. He hears footsteps. Soft, steady footsteps right outside their tent. He says they were too slow, too deliberate to be an animal, measured. He just freezes. Can't move, can't make a sound. Pure terror. The steps stop just a few feet away from the tent wall. And he hears it. Sharp, unmistakable. The flick of a lighter.
Oh, no.
A little orange glow appears through the tent fabric. It's moving slowly back and forth. He's watching this, paralyzed, and then the flame just flares up, gets way bigger, he says, like someone lit a torch or something similar. And then, no warning, whoever it is just drops whatever they're holding. A dull thump on the ground, and instantly the side of the tent just lights up with fire, spreading fast. That's what finally snapped him out of it. The fire.
Okay, wow. That's a terrifying jump from just footsteps and a light to direct arson. It goes from eerie observation to a violent, deliberate act.
Okay.
That highlights a specific intent, right? Malevolent, like we said before, human, or maybe not.
They scramble, just grabbing sleeping bags, whatever they can, tossing belongings out the other side of the tent. They sprint out as the flames are taking hold. They actually manage to beat the fire out, but like half the tent is just ruined, melted. They look around, scanning the darkness. Nothing. No one there. Just silence again.
Gone, just like that.
Gone. So they don't even think about staying. They start speed walking back towards their truck, which is parked some distance away. They're basically guessing the direction in the pitch dark, adrenaline pumping. After a few minutes of this frantic walking, they hear it again.
The howl.
That same distant scream or howl from the first two nights. But this time, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going, like an animal in constant agony. Horrible sound. And then another scream starts up from somewhere else in the darkness, and then another one.
Multiple.
Yeah, multiple screams now, all seemingly coming from behind them, where they just ran from. They finally find the truck, throw their burnt gear in, and just peel out of there. Floor it down the dirt track. They did call the police later, reported the whole thing, the arson, the screams.
Those multiple screams during the escape, that just amplifies the terror, doesn't it? It suggests maybe it wasn't just one person or thing. Maybe multiple aggressors out there. Unknown, relentless. Makes that desert isolation feel like a total trap. So yeah, the big question is who or what was really out there doing that? Chasing them with screams.
Gives you chills just thinking about it. Okay, one more story for you. This last one shifts gears a bit. It's more psychological, digging into some dark family secrets. The narrator talks about always having this suspicion about his mother's past. She was born in Mexico, moved to the U.S. alone for college, and just never talked about her childhood or her parents. If he asked, she'd joke, change the subject, get evasive. He knew she grew up in a border town in northern Mexico, and he once overheard her make this weird joke about her family being a mix of politicians and crooks. Her father apparently worked for the government down there, but she never, ever mentioned her mother. The only other clue he ever got was a name, just an initial R. He remembers one time walking in on his mom, talking really quietly on the phone. She kept repeating this name R, like she was talking about someone, not to them. When he flipped the light on, she hung up immediately and just glared at him, really glared.
That level of secrecy from a parent, especially about their own family, it's fascinating and concerning. Why go to such lengths to hide your past from your own child? That reaction, the phone call, it hints at something much bigger than just, say, unhappy childhood memories. Maybe something dangerous or something with ongoing consequences. That art initial is very intriguing.
Right. So fast forward, about a year before he shared this story, he's driving, alone, through the Arizona desert, not far from the border. He's on the phone with his mom, just chatting to pass the time on the long drive. And then, completely out of nowhere, boom, 2 pickup trucks block the road ahead of him. 3 guys jump out, armed, rifles, look serious. Before he can even react, another car pulls up behind him, blocks him in. He's trapped, he's unarmed, totally outnumbered. No choice but to do what they say. The men are yelling commands at him in Spanish. He mentions regretting never learning Spanish properly. They take everything, his phone, keys, wallet, watch, anything valuable. Standard procedure for a robbery, maybe?
Yeah.
One of the armed men gets into the narrator's truck, starts looking through his stuff, presumably. And that's when this chilling thought hits the narrator.
Yeah.
He never hung up the phone with his mom.
She's still on the line, hearing all this.
Still connected. He watches the man in his truck pick up the phone, look at the screen, clearly see it's an active call. The man reaches out like he's going to tap end call. But then he stops, pulls his finger back. He holds the phone up to his ear. He's listening. And their narrator instantly connects the dots. His mom must have heard the Spanish command. She must be talking to the guy now. He watches them. The man in the truck is having a full conversation in Spanish with his mom on the phone, and the narrator says he's 90% sure he heard the man repeat that initial R.
Whoa. Okay, that is unexpected. A complete twist. The armed robbery suddenly pivots because of the mom on the phone. And this name R comes up again. That changes the entire nature of the encounter, doesn't it? From random violence to something deeply personal, deeply connected to her hidden past.
Absolutely. The other armed men notice the guy in the truck is on the phone. They walk over, listen in too. The conversation ends. Man hangs up the narrator's phone. Then they all walk back over to the narrator, and they hand him back everything. His phone, his watch, his personal stuff, even his car keys. Everything except the cash that was in his wallet. One of the men, maybe the leader, actually smiles at him and says in this thick accent, just one word, "Tax!"
Tax. Okay, that word is loaded. It implies this wasn't random at all. It suggests organization, structure, maybe even territory or passage fees. And giving everything back except the cash, it points to a very specific kind of transaction, not just robbery. A calculated move linked to that phone call, linked to R.
Exactly. Then the three vehicles, no license plates visible, just speed off back into the desert dust. Gone. As soon as they're out of sight, the narrator pulls his mom back immediately, demanding answers. Understandably freaked out, she sticks to her story, claims she just threatened them, said she knew his location via GPS, was calling the police. Standard stuff, but he doesn't buy it. Not after hearing R, not after they gave everything back and said tax. He's now increasingly certain she has some kind of connection, past or maybe even present, to a Mexican gang, maybe a cartel, a connection that didn't just end when she crossed the border all those years ago. He says he feels like he needs to confront her directly, but he's worried. Worried about damaging their relationship, or worse. Worried about what truths might come out, what world he might uncover.
And that's the terrifying core of it, isn't it? The lingering question isn't just if her past is involved, but how involved, how deep does it go, and what else is she hiding? It really poses a question for you listening. How far would you push to find out the truth about someone you love? Especially if you suspect the truth could be incredibly dangerous and could change how you see them forever.
Heavy stuff. So, these stories. You've got the mine shaft with those inexplicable bite marks, the camping trip, the terror of the fire, and those multiple screams, and this roadside encounter, peeling back layers of a hidden family past. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? The most terrifying things aren't always monsters from movies. Sometimes they're lurking in those empty, desolate places, or maybe even hidden in the secrets of the people closest to us.
Yeah, each story really forces us to think about how vulnerable we are when we're isolated. And they raise these huge questions about things we can't explain and the hidden truths that might be running just beneath the surface of our normal lives. These aren't just weird anecdotes. They feel like glimpses into something, well, deeper and more complex than we usually like to admit.
Indeed. So maybe the next time you find yourself alone somewhere quiet, perhaps looking up at the desert stars, or even just wondering about the unspoken histories of people you know, remember these tales and maybe ask yourself, what else is out there? Or maybe even closer than you think, that you really don't know about. We hope this deep dive into the chilling unknown gave you something to think about, maybe something that sticks with you. If you found this captivating, definitely hit that like button. Share it with a friend who enjoys a good scare. And please subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, for more unsettling stories and explorations like this one. Until next time, stay curious. And maybe stay a little vigilant too.